Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Susie, and in today's video I have three fun projects for you. So one of my favorite things to do when I need inspiration is go to the Antique Farmhouse website. There's so much to see on there and everything is so beautiful. I know that a lot of people say that farmhouse style is on its way out, and that may very well be. But I think for me, I love it, and it's always going to be a part of my style. It may not be completely farmhouse, but there'll always be elements of it. I think it's a classic look, and I love looking through this website. But y'all, there's no way I could ever afford anything on this website. So in today's video, I'm going to show you how to get that high-end antique farmhouse look using thrift store items. So let's go ahead and get started. I hope you guys enjoy this video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thank y'all so much. For project number one, I came across these gorgeous cement looking figurines. They were doves, but I loved the really aged look of them, like they've just been sitting outside forever and ever, and I wanted to see if I could recreate that. Now, y'all know I have all these unfinished ceramics that I need to get painted. I did not have any doves, however, I did have these two really nice pheasants. So I'm going to try to do that technique on these two pheasants. For the first layer, and there's so many layers in this project, I lost count. But for the first layer, I'm just going to seal in that unfinished ceramic with some Chateau, one coat of Chateau, which actually was just about the exact same color. And then I am going to take just some watered down mossy green chalk paint that I had. And I'm just going to dab it in lots of different areas, just letting it get down into those details. I really want this to be aged. So like I said, there's going to be lots and lots of layers. Like this has just been sitting out for, 10 or 15 years and aging. Hopefully we can come up with that. So after I get the green on, I'm actually going to use some dirt. I don't know why the color on this video is messed up, but either way, I am going to mist it with my mister bottle just to get it a little bit moist. Then I'm going to take some actual potting soil and rub into all of those crevices. Now, in hindsight, wish I had done this over a bowl or something instead of my somewhat clean drop cloth because it was a mess. So just keep that in mind. If you're going to use dirt, it's going to make a mess. So I rubbed it all over both of the pheasants, letting it get down in all those cracks. And then I cleaned up my drop cloth and the best I could. And then I'm going to come back with just a little harder bristle wax brush and clean out all the dirt in those areas and push it down where it needs to be. Just cleaning them up a little bit, and again, making a mess on my drop cloth, but this one was much easier to clean up. After I get the dirt off like I want it, the next layer is going to be, I saw some gray on them. And so I'm going to take some little lamb and just put it in some random spots, putting a pretty good bit of gray on there. I really wanted them to look kind of cement. So I'm putting a good bit of that on there. And then I'm going to do the same thing with some oakum, which is a dark brown gray color. I felt like they were just too light in comparison to the other picture. So I'm going to put a pretty good bit of this oakum in different areas. We're going to blend these all together in here in just a minute, and it really ties it all in. So the next step I'm going to do, once all that paint is dry, I'm going to come back and clear wax them entirely. I want to clear wax them in to, like I said, to blend all these colors in together, and then also give me a base for the dark wax that I'm going to end up putting on these. That way I can wipe back as much or as little as I want. These are looking a little splotchy at this point, but once I get that clear wax on, it makes a lot of difference in blending all these colors together. So this is how they're looking after the clear wax, and now I'm going to go in with the dark wax, and I think this is really going to make a pretty big difference. So I'm just going to rub dark wax all over the entire project and then take a clean paper towel and wipe back any of the excess. Once I got the dark wax on, I was amazed at how great these turned out. I think they actually maybe look better than the original pictures. Let me know what y'all think about this paint finish. I can't believe that I was able to make these look so aged. So once again, here is my inspiration, and this set of figurines was $42 on Antique Farmhouse, and here is my $3 quails that I have made to look aged. What do you guys think? For project number 2, Antique Farmhouse has tons of vases, and I wanted to make some of the textured vases. I didn't have one particular one in mind. I had several ones that caught my eye that I wanted to do similar projects to. The first one was this, and what I loved about this one was the color. Not necessarily the texture on it, but I like the color and the shape. This one, the color grabbed me. But I do not like the shape of these. And finally, I love this terracotta looking one, except for I didn't want to do that color, but I did love all of the texture on this one. So I'm going to start with these whiskey bottles I found. They're really big, probably a foot tall, nearly. I don't need these corks in them, so I'm going to put them away. Maybe I can use that wood part for something later on. And I would recommend using like spackle for this, but I didn't have any around. But what I did have was some really old drywall mud. It had a few, some chunks in it and everything, but I just went ahead and worked with what I had. And I've got some gloves on here, and I'm just getting it on there, just slapping it all over these vases to create tons and tons of texture. I did not do the bottom. I left that glass because I want it to be able to stand up easily. I don't want to have a lot of texture on the bottom, but I will paint the bottom to match the rest of it. So I got this drywall mud all over the vase, and then while it was wet, I'm going to come back with just a little chip brush just to create texture, but kind of more uniform texture, if that makes any sense. I still want these to be completely random, but I do want them to have a little bit of uniformity. So I'm going to go with that brush just in one direction on these vases. So it took this drywall mud a good 24 hours to dry completely. I'm sure if you use spackle, it wouldn't take as long. Now that they're dry, I'm going to use my sanding block. I do not want to take any of that texture away, but I do want to get any sharp edges or just any ones that stick further out than anything off. So I'm going to go ahead and lightly sand these. I think this is a 220 grit. Like I said, I'm not doing it hard. I'm just lightly doing it to get all the the high parts off of these. And once I get them sanded, I am going to paint them with my favorite, like off-white color, a beige. This is Chateau, and I use this paint so much. I love the look of it, and I think it's just a gorgeous color for anything. So I gave them 2 coats of Chateau, and with there being so much texture on these, there's going to be quite a few spots that you miss. So you'll have to go back over to make sure you get down in all of those spots. Once they were painted, I thought, okay, what am I going to do now? But sometimes you just have to stop. Just say, that's all this needs. There's nothing more I need to do this. I could have put a stamp on it. I thought about that. I could have tied something around the top. I thought about that. But I really wanted these just to be a classic neutral vase. So I stopped here, and y'all, this texture on these vases is gorgeous. They're not like the Inspiration picture, but they are still very gorgeous, and I love them. Today's final project was probably the most difficult just because there were so many elements in it, but I saw these really pretty like pottery bowls, and I loved the beads and the white and the distressed of them. So I'm going to try to recreate these just using what I have on hand. I have some beads, and I think this actually came from the Dollar Tree, this wreath. They're inexpensive bead wreaths. So I'm just going to use it for the beads. I just took my clippers and cut that wire so I could get those beads off. And then I had another one that has already been taken apart that Mason was playing with a while back and made these little necklaces with. So I'm going to have to use those beads too. And this is the first time I'm using the Fusion stain. This is a stain and finishing oil that you can put over your paint as a top coat or use as a stain. This is the color Cappuccino. And I think I actually have 2 of these listed on the website, but this is all of the finishing oil that I have at this time. That's something y'all interested in, let me know. I can always get more. So I want to have a darker base to start with. So I'm going to stain all these beads, and you can see there all I did was put them in this bowl, pour a little bit of stain in with them, and now I'm just using a paper towel to dry them. They're going to be very distressed anyway. We're going to paint them white. So I wasn't worried about full coverage. So I just gave them a quick coat of stain, and then I'm going to do my bases. I had these 2 oval plaque things. I thought they would be the best base for my bowls because I have some oval wood bowls as well. They're already stained, so that's another reason that I wanted to start with a dark base on all this stuff too, just to make everything look uniform. So I gave everything just 1 coat of this Cappuccino stain. While those are drying, I'm going to make my tassels. I just grabbed something that was small enough to wrap some twine around. In hindsight, I wish I had not done it in the middle of this sanding block because it made it super hard to get off, but I did get it off, and for the second one, I did it closer towards the end. So learn from my mistakes, make things easy on yourself. So I'm just going to make me a little tassel. I'm sure y'all have seen this made a bunch of times. I'm not really great at it, but I just tied one around the top and left that string long because that's what we're going to string the beads on once we get them painted white, and then cut them apart. I I do recommend, if you're making more than one tassel, to match, that you count the times that you're wrapping around whatever you're using to make your tassel, because I think I got one of my tassels a little bit thicker than the other one, but it turned out all right. And then I'm just going to trim it up, and now I'm going to go do the second one. Then I gave everything 2 coats of a bright white paint. This is casement. I do wish that I had, before I stain them, I should have taken these oval bases outside and gave them a really good sand. I didn't realize until I started painting and staining them that they had some really rough places on them. Don't know if I could have really done fixed them up much better, but I should have tried. But anyway, it turned out good. I painted everything with 2 coats of this paint, and then I was looking for a white chalk paint. I did not have one in my stash. The reason being is it was raining outside and dark, and I didn't want to sand these inside. I wanted to be able to wet distress, but I did have to get out my little finger sander, so I just gave them a really good sand, everything, and brought back tons of that dark stain underneath on these bowls and bases. I didn't have to do the beads because, I barely stained them anyway. So once I got everything sanded and distressed the way I want it, next, I'm going to string my beads up onto my twine. Long time ago, I bought a couple of these really big needles, and you need to have these in your stash, if nothing else, just for this right here. It just makes doing this really easy. So I just put the beads. These are slightly different sizes. I didn't do any kind of pattern. I just slapped them on there, and just make sure that your string is big enough to fit around between your bowl and your base. And finally, once I had my beads all made up, I tied them, or I glued the bowls onto the base using a little bit of tight bond glue and a little bit of hot glue for instant hold. I tied up the beads on them, and these are done, and they are so cute. I can just imagine them like on a bathroom counter to throw your rings in, or a nightstand or whatever, or just for decor, because they are so stinking cute. What do you guys think about today's projects? Don't forget to comment down below. Each time you comment, it lets YouTube know that you're enjoying this video and lets them know to share it out to other people who like the same things as we do. So once again, here's our $31 inspiration bowl on Antique Farmhouse, and here are my look for less. I hope you guys have enjoyed today's video. I appreciate you watching my channel so much, and I post videos every Wednesday night at 6, so I hope to see you again next week.